Well. Welcome back. Good morning, Wareham. It is Wednesday, February 20th. We have a great show here for you. The news headlines, the weather report, and today in history. In today's show, we are going to visit the Islamic Society of Boston to learn about Ramadan and the meaning behind the Islamic religion. And also, during today's show, we are going to learn about your options as a homeowner, especially a senior living on a fixed income. What options are available to you in this community in Wareham and how to make the right decision. So for that, we'll be hearing from Joseph McPalland from Helping Hands Community Partners later on during the coffee segment. But first, I would like to take this moment to thank Not Your Average Antiques, an antique shop down Cranberry Highway in East Wareham, for donating the props that you see in the Good Morning Wareham set, such as this wonderful ceramic teapot / typewriter. It's adorable. Okay, you can play around with it. I love it. So we got this there thanks to their donation, as long as with the rest of the things that you see here on our set. And I would like to say that the set will be changing. So if you love the show and you watch us, which I hope you'll be watching us, notice what will be changing. And if you've noticed something, please email me at queen@warehamtv.org. What has changed, what you have noticed, and you may win a prize. So stay with us because the news, the weather report, and this day in history are next. Overcast today, high at 32 degrees. There will be snow in the evening that will mix and change to freezing rain, low at 27 degrees. 1 to 3 inches of snow and ice are expected. On Thursday, cloudy skies, but warmer. It is going to be nearly 50 degrees. I hope even warmer than that. Partly cloudy skies in the evening, then becoming cloudy at night, low around 30 degrees. Expect no more traffic at Route 3 and 495. The weather conditions are good, so safe travels, everyone. And now to the news. There were few news headlines over the week, and here are the news headlines. Week newspaper was bustling with these headlines over the week. Wareham Historical Society hosts talk on race amity in America. All throughout American history, race has had a complex and often negative effect on the way people view themselves in relation to others. On the Wareham-born Race Amity Committee is fighting to, now the Wareham-born and Wareham Race Amity Committee is fighting to change that narrative through education and stories success. On Monday night, the committee hosted Speaker Anne Lanry in collaboration with the Wareham Historical Society to talk about positive connections between race in the United States history at the old Methodist Meeting House on Main Street. To another news, a West Wareham woman has been arrested for using a stolen credit cards and checks to take thousands of dollars from victims. Wareham police detectives arrested a West Wareham woman on Friday, February 15th, after she allegedly used stolen credit cards and checks to take thousands of dollars from multiple victims. Lauren Namunti 23 years old, has been charged with larceny over $1,200 by single scheme, receiving stolen property under $1,200, ordering a forced check for accounts, and receiving a stolen credit card. To another news, a pickup truck and a snowplow collide on Route 25 eastbound in Wareham. 3 people were reportedly injured in a car crash between a pickup truck and a snowplow early Monday morning on Route 25 eastbound in Wareham. Officials at the Wareham Fire Department said they were first notified of the crash around 3:50 a.m. by the state police. The accident reportedly occurred in the area of Mass. Highway Barn. And to another news, I'm sure you're going to love this. So currently, there is nothing standing between you and your pot, or maybe except for a proof of residency. Wareham residents interested in buying recreational marijuana products from Verlife will be able to skip the shuttle bus and walk directly to the dispensary starting on Monday, February 18th. Well, last Monday. Prospective Verlife customers have been required to park at the Tremont Nail Factory and catch a shuttle bus, placing their orders online before arriving at 112 Main Street. Verlife Executive Director Shirley Stromo said that Wareham residents with proof of address, such as a driver's license or a lease, will be allowed to join the line at the store without checking in and taking the shuttle bus from the Tremont Nail site. The same goes for individuals who work in Wareham as long as they have proof of employment. So this was last Monday. So currently, Wareham, you're listening, no more shuttle buses. And we have this press release from Army Corps of Engineers. Replacement of damaged roadway joints on the Bourne Bridge spanning the Cape Cod Canal in Bourne is planned to start in late March or early April 2019 and continue through the spring just prior to Memorial Day weekend in May 2019. According to, and this is of course according to the Army Corps of Engineers, during the scheduled times for work, travel over the Bourne Bridge will be reduced from 2 lanes in each direction to 1 wider 12-foot lane in each direction. Traffic control devices and police detail will be used at all times when work is performed to assist the motoring public. Work will take place all 7 days of the week, so plan your travels accordingly. That is it for the news headlines. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this short break. For today's story of the day, never mind the church, we are going to the mosque. About 2 years ago, I visited the Islamic Society of Boston, a mosque in Cambridge, to learn the meaning of Ramadan, an Islamic holiday. Our interview didn't only stop there, as there is a lot to learn and to understand of this religion, and their holiday. And WCTV was there on your behalf. So take a look.
We're not people who believe that we were born into original sin and that we are evil or that we are hurt or that we are injured or that we are somehow less than, that God made us deficient. That's not the Islamic belief. The Islamic belief is that God honored the children of Adam, the boys and girls. God honored humanity.
These are the largest religions around the world, and Islam is now shy from top 5. After Christianity, which makes up 2.22 billion people, Islam is the second largest religion with an estimate of 1.605 billion people worldwide. To learn more about this growing religion, WCTV visited the Islamic Society of Boston located in Cambridge to acquire about the cultures and traditions that go with being a Muslim. But before we go any further, let's get some definitions cleared. Just what does Islam and identifying oneself as a Muslim actually means?
So Islam literally translates to peace. It means submission to God and getting peace in the process. And that's the idea of Islam. A Muslim is one who submits to God, who attempts to submit to God. We all make mistakes, everybody has their off days, but the idea of a Muslim is someone who submits to God and tries to get peace in the process.
The Islamic religion isn't just a religion, but to those devoted Muslims, it is a comprehensive way of life.
This is a lifetime commitment. I can't just wear it one day and not wear it the next. You wear your hijab, just not because the misconception like you're covering your hair, but you wear your hijab to be modest, and it's your character as well. So it wouldn't make sense to just put a hijab on and have a really bad character.
And this is not a punishment.
It's not. We want to do this.
Okay.
When I wore it, it's because I wanted to. I wanted to do it for God. I mean, I lived here all my life, and when I did it, I accepted it 100%, and I did it when I was ready. Because, you know, you're supposed to start wearing it when you first hit puberty.
For men, the acceptable dress code is to cover the knees until the waist and the shoulder. The shoulders should be covered. That's the acceptable dress code for men.
The religion encourages 5 pillars: declaring your faith, praying, performing charity, fasting, and try to make a pilgrimage to Mecca. These 5 concepts are at the core of answers to achieving the ultimate salvation. The importance of prayer, which is axiomatic to the Islamic faith. Muslims are encouraged to pray at least 5 times a day. When praying, the postures corresponds to the words spoken.
All Muslims, when they pray, they face the Kaaba.
Okay.
And we're facing the first house of monotheism that Abraham, the father of all the prophets, built. And so there are certain postures that we have in the prayer. So the first one is standing. The second one is called ruku, or bowing. And when we're bowing, we're showing the top of our head to the Lord and only to the Lord. Muslims will only ever bow to one being, and that is God. And so that's the bowing. Mm-hmm. And this is the first sign of submission.
Okay.
Then we come to standing again, and we go down into a full-bodied prostration. With your face on the floor, with your hands on the ground, with your big toe on the ground, and with the entirety of your body pointing in that direction. And that is complete and utter submission.
A mosque is the house for worship. It is easy to identify a mosque because of its tessellation designs that are quite captivating. Like a cross is a symbol for church, a star inside a crescent moon is a symbol for a mosque.
In Islam, we don't generally use depictions. We don't use pictures of people or individuals. Mm-hmm. That's not in our spirit of artistic design. So the Arab and Muslim artists began taking simple shapes and repeating them to create intricate, beautiful designs. And the mosaic is made together of different pieces and different parts of the whole. So you see the stars, you see the sun, you see the moon, you see the moon as part of the logo.
The decorum of entering a mosque is first to remove your shoes.
First reason is the most important reason, because God commanded us to take off our shoes. So when Moses was communicating with God, you know, Moses was the one who spoke directly to God through the burning bush. God commanded, in the Quran it's written that God commanded Moses You have entered the sacred valley of Tuwa, so take off your shoes and then you can communicate with me. The other reason is fairly simple. We make prostration onto the ground. We are putting our hold of our body on the carpet. We don't want to get dirt and those kinds of things on the carpet that we're prostrating on. People generally have cleaner socks and feet than they have on their shoes. Come on this way. So here is the upstairs area is for brothers and the downstairs area is for sisters and for the office team. So we're going to go upstairs into the brothers' musalla. And the musalla is the praying room.
One must cleanse before a prayer.
We have to be cleansed. And the Prophet asked a question. He said, if you washed in the river 5 times a day, do you believe you would be clean? And they said, by God, Prophet of God, of course, we'd be very clean. He said, so wash yourself 5 daily prayers to wash away the sins and so that you remain clean. But symbolically, we wash with water before we pray to wash us of the dirt on our body, and then we wash ourselves of the sins by praying. So
this is every time before you pray.
Every time before you pray, unless you already have your wudu. So if you've made wudu and you haven't broken it, the things that break wudu are urinating, defecating, I think vomiting, and that's an unusual one, and breaking winds or passing gas. Those are the things which invalidate your wudu. And so every time you do that, you make the wudu again. You start by saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of God, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. You wash your hands 3 times, and then you gurgle water 3 times. You spit it out. And you clean your nose, so you inhale a little bit of the water, and you blow it out 3 times. And then you wash your face 3 times, the whole of your face. And one of the encouraged points is that you turn off the water in between each step so that we don't waste water. So that I usually just turn on the water, I pour it in, and then I turn it back off so that the water doesn't run. It's like when you're brushing your teeth. You shouldn't leave the water running, you know? So we wash our arms and we wash down 3 times, both sides. So usually your left hand will wash the right arm first, and then your right arm will wash the left arm. It's actually quite invigorating as well. It helps you to wake up. If you've been a little bit tired or drowsy in the middle of the day, it helps you to refreshen. So after your hands, you do your hair. Oh. So you wipe your hair, and then your ears, and then your feet, both feet. And some people put their feet in the tub like this. I generally don't because I splash, so I get myself wet. But it's a process that helps prepare your heart for what's about to happen. We're about to meet with the Master of the universe. So this is the prayer hall, and you'll see all of these carpets are strewn out in rows facing in this direction, and that's the centerpiece. This is called the mihrab. That's where the imam stands when he's leading the congregation, and everybody is facing this direction. And this direction is the direction of the Kaaba, the first house of monotheism that Abraham built. He broke all the idols that the polytheists used to worship, multiple gods, and he made it a sanctified house for the one God. Now what they're doing right now is they're setting up for the Ramadan. So this blue tarp is going to go into these corners, and we're going to have all of this spread out, and there's going to be little paper tables almost.
During the month of Ramadan, which is a sacred month, Muslims try to get nearest to Allah through fasting, sustaining from physical pleasures, and being kind to others. Because the Islamic religion is one that runs on moon calendar, the month of Ramadan doesn't always follow the same dates. Eerie. This year, the Muslims began fasting on May 27th and will continue to do so until June 24th. For the summer months like now, fasting could mean as far as 13 hours of no food or drinks, and as little as 5 to 7 hours if the month of Ramadan drops during the winter season. If you're not fasting, According to the Islamic religion, you are to offer food to one who doesn't have.
Now, who is exempt from fasting?
The people who are exempt from fasting are women who are on their cycle.
Okay.
So when they're on your monthly cycle, you don't have to fast, and you can make up those fasts on another day of the year.
Okay.
Those who are on a journey, so if they're traveling long distances, you have the option to break your fast. You don't have to fast those days, and you can make them up another day. Some people have health conditions that makes it difficult to fast, but still possible. So if you have a condition where you can fast, but it's difficult, if you ever break your day, if you're sick, you don't have to fast.
Okay.
And so if you break your fast because you're sick, you're not punished for that. You're rewarded for that. You're rewarded for breaking the fast because your greater obligation is to take care of your health.
Also kids.
And
10
kids
years.
who are younger than, kids who are not pubescent. If you've not reached puberty, then you don't have to fast. If you're encouraged to try and to learn, to get used to it, and some parents will have their kids fast until 12 o'clock, and then until 3 o'clock, and then until 5 o'clock, until finally the day that they reach
Step by
puberty,
step, yeah.
step by step, to get them used to it.
So you don't just wake up one day and say, I'm
No,
going to
of
fast
course.
the
No,
whole
no.
So apart from pork, which is completely a no-no,
Right.
what foods are exempt during Ramadan?
The same foods that are permissible during the day are permissible during the rest of the year, or permissible during the night. But there are two big foods that are forbidden in Islam. One of them is pork, and one of them is alcohol. So people who like tiramisu, some tiramisu is cooked with rum. If you cook with alcohol, Muslims don't eat those foods. Intoxicants are absolutely prohibited, because we are not able to thankful and to be mindful of God when you're intoxicated.
What's the importance of dates? What's the significance of dates?
What's the significance of that? Actually, you mean the benefits of it, or like
Why do
we have it
Muslims?
during-
why do we have it? Well, it's kind of part of sunnah. We follow the sunnah of the Prophet.
The tradition.
It's kind of tradition of the Islamic faith. It's they break their fast on it, which is also the reason of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he used to do that because there is a lots of benefits after not eating for a long time.
30 seconds, 20 seconds, 20 seconds, 20 seconds, 20 seconds, 20 seconds. Let's count 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
It is now 8:20 p.m., time for Adhan, which is the calling to prayer. When doing so, the muezzin faces the Qibla, the direction to Kaaba in Mecca, while reciting Adhan.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa Allah. Ashhadu an la أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
While Adhan, everyone enjoys a simple snack, dates with a glass of milk or water. This is done so in order to invigorate the body before the main prayer.
What are the challenges, especially here in America? Any day is a work day,
Right.
right? It's not like there is
Right.
Friday just to go to the mosque, Sunday only to go to church. Any
Right.
day is a work day. So how do you manage staying true to your faith? You have to pray 5 times. You could be at work.
Yeah.
How does that go?
So I think for prayer, it's different. I think it really depends on what kind of a job you have. If you're working in more of a professional setting, really it's like a 5-minute prayer. It doesn't take very long. So usually if employees get a cigarette break, they get a bathroom break, a prayer break is no different. Most employers are comfortable with that. But there are many prejudiced and discriminatory employers. They can give you a very hard time, and we have social justice advocates. They're called CARE, the Council of American Islamic Relations. They defend and provide legal counsel for Muslims who are discriminated against.
During the prayer, the men stand shoulder to shoulder with each other. It is believed that through doing so, you're blocking the devil from getting through. When the prayer is over, everyone takes their seats, ready to receive their first proper meal of the day. Today, they are serving some chicken over rice with salad and pita bread to go with it.
Great program, wasn't it? Stay with us. We'll be right back. Hello and thank you for being with us this morning. We are broadcasting live from our WCTV studio in Wareham. This is Good Morning Wareham, your source for local news, weather, traffic, and more information. And now for a moment in history. So let's take a look at where we were today in history. February 20, back in 1962, the American hero John Glenn was sent into orbit. Having flown as a member of the Air Force over 150 times during the Korean War and in World War II, Glenn was one of the few chosen by NASA to be an astronaut. He launched on Friendship 7 from Cape Canaveral with 100,000 people watching in person and millions watching on TV. In the mission, Glenn orbited Earth 3 times, lasting 5 hours. He returned to Earth safely, landing in the Atlantic Ocean. Glenn went on into politics later in his life. He passed away in 2016 at the age of 95. And to another historical fact, in 1966, in honor of Black History Month, we look at a man who broke barriers in basketball. No, we are not talking about the legendary Jackie Robinson, who joined the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1947. Instead, we look at the less talked about Emmett Ashford. Ashford was the first African American umpire for the MLB, hired this day in history in 1966, and that is American League of Baseball. Remembered for his flair and style, Ashford was well respected by his peers throughout, though it took a small campaign and an appointment with LA Dodgers owner Walter O'Malley for the league to finally hire him. 19 years later, Jackie Robinson broke 19 years earlier, Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier for the players in baseball. Omid Ashford broke it for umpires. And of course, for birthdays, we have a couple people celebrating their big day today. Former Bruins star Phil Esposito and rock star Kurt Cobain. And happy birthday to everybody celebrating their big birthdays today. That is all I have for today in History segment. To learn more about cool historical facts, please go online under history.com. Stay with us. We'll be right back. The coffee segment is next. But first, let's take a look at our events calendar. Thank you for joining us. This is Good Morning Wareham. We are broadcasting live from our WCTV studio. For today's coffee segment, we are going to learn about an upcoming event on February 28th at the Wareham Free Library. Should I stay or should I go? Joseph McParland from the Helping Hands Community Partners, Inc. will be talking about the different options out there for you as a homeowner, especially to seniors living on a fixed income. So take a look. Being a homeowner can be a joyful thing that sometimes it may turn to a very stressful experience, especially when you lack the right information. Joining me today is Joe McParland from Helping Hands Community Partners, a nonprofit that works with homeowners on what home ownership is about. The referral. What is the solution to
There
this?
isn't one solution for everybody, but one of my slides talks about, you know, if you stay, and then another slide talks about going.
Helping Hands Community
Helping
Partners.
Hands. I do a different thing. So.
Okay, so they are responding to the housing crisis.
Yes.
In the state.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so you have a discussion coming up on the 28th right here in Wareham.
Yes.
And that is specifically tailored to seniors?
Seniors.
Okay.
So that's me.
All right.
Right here.
Yep.
So if you stay, what are you going to do? Can you afford to stay? What are all your options? How are you going to lower your costs so you can stay? Because why? You're on a fixed income now for the rest of your life, right? The seniors I talk to are living on Social Security only. People are trying to live on $650 a month. I have a lady I'm doing a reverse mortgage for right now that is trying to live on $800 a month. If you're reading the national or listening to the national news, how old are you?
26.
So you're my daughter's age. So you don't read, you listen, or there's sites that you watch, real quick snippet stuff that explains everything in the world that's happening. One of the biggest things that's happening is trying to deal with the whole, the majority of people that are living today are living hand to mouth. 90% of the people don't have a savings account, and then you have this group who have retired without a $1 million 401k. Which will be you and me probably too, right? It is what it is. But that's, in my financial world, that's what you're supposed to retire with today. $1 million. It should be two, but $1 million's fine. To live at 65 for another 20 years. Just to live and enjoy life and be able to travel, etc. Instead, what people are doing is seniors are living on Social Security and trying to stay in their existing home that they've been in for 30 and 40 years that's dated because they can't go anywhere else. So if I stay, you could do a reverse mortgage with me. I've been doing those for 15 years. Or you could take in a renter. Or you could take this 26-year-old and she can do cohabitation. And she'll come and live with the 83-year-old woman. It's happening big time in Cambridge, all around universities. Because students need to live somewhere, right? So they're going to go and live with that 83-year-old, and what are they going to do? They're going to sign a contract, and you're going to go and get her food once a week, once a month, whatever. You're going to take her to doctor appointments, and if it doesn't work out, there's a breakup, you got to go. But for that, you're going to get either reduced or no rent at all, okay? So these are the things that outside the box that have to happen because I don't see this going away. Okay. 10,000 people turn 65 every day, 10,000 people.
And they live longer.
Because of health and drugs. Since 2013, this is going to happen until 2035. 10,000 a day. What the hell do you think they're doing?
They're enjoying their lives.
You wish.
Yes. So, okay, let's back up a little bit, okay?
That's a lot.
We kind of dived in very hard into the subject.
We did.
Yes, so let's back up a little bit. Let's start with the Helping Hands.
Mission statement.
Mission statement.
Okay.
What it is, and then how your work fits into it. And also your history, your background is very interesting.
Yeah?
Yes.
So, the mission statement is two-part, as I said. So you have the housing part where we go and we rebuild or take over houses, put them back on the market, sell them to that moderate income person that was looking for a house, find them a loan or find them down payment money. In the town of Plymouth, for example, they have a program just for down payment for people that qualify. That is accessible money in every town that they can get from the state or the federal government. Accessible money. So there's a whole program. She's got community development director there. She is like 1.5 million.
For those who qualify can go and ask for the down payment for their home.
So you have to make less than 80% of the median income, which is about $60,000 in Plymouth. That's not bad, right? Mm-hmm. And they're going to grant you the 10, 20% to put down on a property. And so that you'll stay in the house so that you can afford the house. Yeah. So that's one side. And then on the other side, we do loans of all kinds in Norwell mostly. It was a mortgage shop before, and it still is, but we do mortgages. In my case, I do it in the reverse side. I don't do forward or regular loans. I only deal with seniors, and I only do reverse mortgages when appropriate. If it's not right, it seems to work for me because people trust me more, I hope. A very untrusting group in general, as they should be, because everyone's calling them trying to sell them something. Because 10,000 people have turned 65 every day. Hello. And they're getting calls every day. Why? Because they still have a phone in their house, and you and I just have a cell phone. And they get picked up and they get called all day. All day.
So, what got you into this work?
You know, I don't know. It was the when I helped the first few seniors actually be able to stay in their house. It was pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like crying, everyone's upset, and then like I get to stay here, and it's a niche. I like nichey things. This is a nichey thing. There are 5 million loans that get done every year in the United States. Do you know how many loans and reverse mortgages get done every year?
How many?
Less than 50,000. That's it. Now, it's a big issue of communication, and people not even knowing the program exists. As there are other things in the senior world, in the town, what is offered to them as a senior. There's deferral programs that seniors for taxes, seniors probably don't even know about.
Okay.
Okay? So that's part of my presentation. The first 7 to 10 slides is all about what's in this town for you.
What's in this town in Wareham for you?
In Wareham for
Before
you.
we even got to those questions of whether should I stay or should I go.
There you go.
Okay.
And then I talk about if in this town, for the most part, I got to do more research, but basically it's deferral programs, which is very typical, deferring of taxes. The most expensive person, the reason seniors can't stay in their house is because of taxes. So the average house in, let's just say in this town is $300,000, they're paying $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a year in taxes.
And I'm sure from your research, you know that we are about to get a new middle school, sorry.
I'm sure.
So that taxes are going to go up.
Yeah.
And we have a high population and still growing population of seniors in this town. Like any other Cape Town, yes, I will call ourselves a Cape Town.
I do.
It's a retirement destination for
It is.
seniors. Okay. So with all these facts, what condition are we in? What's our town?
The
like?
town?
Yes.
It's in its infancy of growth, of housing, of understanding what all the programs are, and just catching up, if you will. But anyone that's really savvy in housing programs are mostly cities, anyways, because they have whole entities inside the city that deal with this. And you're talking about a little town of Wareham. I mean, it's you got a town manager or a town planner, and you got little entities in the town, but they only have so much time and so many hands to do certain things.
So what other questions are you going to be entertaining on the 28th, apart from whether you should give up your home or not?
Right. So the other thing we talk about in Stay or Go is, if you stay, how can we lower your costs, right? Are there, like and I just did my first one in the town of Marshfield. There's 4 different deferral tax programs for veterans, handicapped, blind, just a regular person. Anyone can qualify to defer their taxes. They're just going to get charged interest on it. The town of Marshfield charges 2%. The town of Pembroke charges 8% on the money that gets deferred. Think about that. So you're going to defer $8,000 for the next 20 years. Do the math. So that will get paid first because it's a lien on their house. But at least they don't have to pay it and they can stay in their house. So there's one option in lieu of a reverse mortgage. If that's enough to keep them okay. But I mean, you like you said, you hope seniors are enjoying their retirement, right? I have people that can't even go out and have lunch with their friends because at the end of the month, after they pay everybody, there's nothing left. I mean, zero.
So what is the solution now? Because not everything can be fixed, right? And especially
So
at that
true.
age, you have retired. You have talked about
You
some
have a fixed income.
fixed income.
Yep.
You dabbed upon some of the solutions out there, like the referral. What is the solution to
There
this?
isn't one solution for everybody, but one of my slides talks about, you know, if you stay, and then another slide talks about going. We talked a little bit about staying and reverse mortgage, deferment of taxes. There's oil subsistence programs I'm sure all seniors know about. Everyone can apply for that. There's winterization programs offered by South Shore. There's a community county district space that winterization programs. Boiler is a big cost to them because they haven't done it for 20 years. That there's programs for that. And those are all at the town hall. That should be. I don't know where it is in this town, but in Marshfield, for example, it was in the planning department. They had all that information. So that's staying. If you go, where do you go, right? So you can move in with your kids, which everyone poo-poos, the seniors. It's the last thing they want to do.
Do you see you moving in with your children?
Oh my, I could never do it. No, I'd go live in a tent before I did that.
I can see that you're a very proud gentleman.
Yeah, well, I was in the military for 23 years, so I know how to live in a tent.
Okay.
So you could do that. They don't like that. You could downsize. So this is a really complicated process, but easily simplified, because if you downsize, what are you going to downsize to, right? So because most of them are living in a house that they use 2 rooms in, maybe 3. And there's 6, and they're heating all that, and they're paying the taxes on that. So there's an argument, and you'll see more of it in this town, of smaller properties, whether it be in 1,000 square foot small home or condo units. You should see a lot more of that in the next 10 years. Has to happen, because people can't afford to pay for the land that sits in the house that sits in this town sometimes on a fixed income. So you could downsize. What else? You can do cohabitation, which is very new. It's not, in towns like this, it's probably not known about or really done that much, but they do it a lot in the city. You could sell your house. Okay, and a lot of these seniors, at least the seniors I dealt with at the beginning of this, I've been doing this for 14 years. So way back in the day, it was World War II and Korea. Now I'm talking to Vietnam retirees, right, vets. They're not as bad as my group, which is the next group, but they still owe something on their house. But that World War II, Korea, they never had a mortgage because that's the way they were brought up. So they sell their house. And you can actually you can downsize to buy something smaller, hopefully, or you could do, I don't do a lot of these, but you can do a reverse mortgage for purchase. And so let's just do the easy math. So you sell your house for $300,000. There's a condo that you love, and it's not 2,000 square feet, it's 1,000 square feet. You're going to pay $200,000 for it, okay? You put you put $50,000 down, and the $150 of the $200 goes on a reverse mortgage. And reverse mortgages, I don't know if you know how they work, but you don't make a payment for the rest of your life. If you did this is where you want to stay.
Okay, so tell us about reverse mortgage.
Okay, so if you do a reverse mortgage, normally I'm doing it because they have some lien that's been building and building, a mortgage of some kind. They went to the bank and they got a home equity line of credit because the banks make it seem so easy. They're easy to get, but you still got to make a payment on it every month, right? So a lot of times they'll run this thing up and now they'll live on it. They'll go buy the peanut butter with it, and all of a sudden it's $50,000, and they're paying interest only, and they're not beating it down. It's still there. It's a debt, and they can't afford it. So I would come in, do a reverse mortgage, and I don't care really so much about credit or how much money they make, so long as they make enough money to pay their homeowners insurance and taxes. and even then I can fix it if they can't. But the biggest thing is to do the reverse mortgage, pay off that $50,000, and then you can access more equity from your property if you want. It's a very conservative loan. You can only attach 50-60% of the equity max of the home usually. In a normal loan, you can go and say, I want it from a bank, I want to get a loan. You can say, oh, you can access 80% of your money, and you make a payment. In this, I paid the $50,000 off. Now there's still $150,000 in equity they can take. And what I do with that, because of my financial planning background, is I say, now you told me you have $10 left at the end of the month. How much money do you want a month to subside, to go out with your friends for lunch, to be able to pay the food bill, etc.? How much do you think it is on average over 14 years? How much a year?
How much?
How much you think?
I'm asking you.
$6,000. That's all they need. Most seniors only need right now an additional $500 to $600 a month to change their entire life. And then they just, all the stress comes off their shoulders, because the number one thing for seniors is stress is money. The second thing is health. Okay? So we just relieved all that stress, and so now so long as they're judicious in what they take, this is what I do all the time, because this loan got a bad rap because people are out there in my clothing saying, take everything. Well, why would you do that? You know what I mean? It's the equity in your house. You take everything. Where are you going to put it? In the bank, so you can, spend it all? So what I do is I set them up in a plan. My whole thing in this is for whatever they do, number one, don't freeze in place and do nothing, and then 5 years come back to me and say, I want to do this now, and it's too late. And number two, let's have a plan. As a senior, the average person I talk to is 70 years old, 72 years old. I want a 72-year-old plan. Are you going to stay here? And how long are you going to stay here? Is it going to be 5 years, or is it going to be 10 years? And it's like, all right, I know you don't know what you're going to do for 10 years out, but at least for the next 5 years, let's make a plan. And we literally do. So the money and the cost of the loan is expensive, and everyone gets all upset about that. So much of that is so unimportant. 80% of this loan is being able to sit down and talk to the seniors, explain it so they understand it in a simplified way, and then I don't care what they do. I've been doing this too long. You just say whatever you do, just say yes or no. If you say no, have a plan, and then let's discuss what the plan is. So it's a lot of, I feel, a lot of counseling and conference, you know what I mean, and discussion about where they are, and really having stop deferring and saying that this is going to be okay someday. It's not going to change, because they're living on a fixed income. I've said it now 5 times. It does not change. It's fixed, and they might get COLAs, right? Cost of living adjustments. I think Social Security got 1 or 2% last year, but it hadn't got one for 4 years before. And so these people are trying to live on that.
Okay. So you tell them, you give them all this information.
Yes.
And then you present them with the yes or no. Yes means to work with you?
Work with me, or yes, I'm going to create a plan, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to sell my house. Yes could mean a lot of things. It doesn't necessarily work with me, but just the yes is like moving forward with a decision of a plan, because they know what this means. The should I stay or should I go? I don't really have to explain any more than that. They're coming because they're in a little bit of stress, right? They know that they need to do something, and it's just perpetuated, and they've allowed it to go on.
Now, help me with the goal.
Okay.
Okay, is the goal to help seniors stay in their homes?
It is.
Okay.
That's the ultimate goal. For me, that's my job, to see if they can financially stay in their homes, if that's what they want. But of late, of the last few years, as I'm getting older in this thing, I'm doing more of all the options, talk about all the options. So that's partly the goal, to stay in their house or stay in place if that's what they want. But if they don't want that, the other goal is at least I stirred their mind to make a decision to do something and not freeze in place. You have no idea how many people just walk away from me. And I've been doing this for 14 years. People actually really do call me 3 years later and say, okay, I'm ready now.
So all your services that you provide are free. They're not going to be charged by anything. No. So let's say, okay, on the 28th, a lot of seniors turn out. Let's say 50, 100 seniors turn out.
Yeah.
Okay, they listen to your talk.
Your lips to God's ear, yeah.
And they all say, yes, I want to go with you. I want to seek your services. Yeah. Then what's the time frame? Are you able to take on all those clients?
Yeah, but it doesn't. It just doesn't happen. I mean, I'd love it to happen like that.
Why do you think it doesn't happen? What's the hesitation?
People hold up in their homes. Seniors hold up in their homes like squirrels in a burrow.
And you do understand why, right?
I absolutely do.
Then can we change the focus maybe? More
well, I hope that this is doing that because should I stay or go is more conversation about housing education in total than you need to do a reverse mortgage or else. Mm-hmm. The people that are doing that are going to fail. That's not my ultimate goal here. So average group that comes is like 20, 25.
Okay, 20, 25. You never know. This is Wareham, okay? As I told you, we have lots of seniors.
Oh, I know. I already looked it up.
All right. So if somebody cannot make it on the 28th, how do they reach out to you?
No, they can call me or email me, but usually they'll just call me.
Okay. Yeah. All right, and they can set up their own time to meet
with
you.
Yeah.
All right. So tell me what you have learned throughout these 14 years.
That the problem has not changed. It's gotten bigger, but people react on crisis.
Okay, so for the seniors, they have you on the 28th, but for other people who are listening, who are not seniors,
they can call me.
They can still call you because the organization, the nonprofit you work for, you work with, they do assist other people still on what being a homeowner is about, They work them through
which is all through me on that side, The other thing about buying houses or getting houses that from the banks and redoing them, that's a whole separate piece of the pie.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
So, of course, you heard it from him, Joe, from the Helping Hands Community Partners, here to talk about his upcoming event on the 28th of this month, where seniors will get to answer this question: should they stay or should they go? The services that he offers are free, so do please turn out on the 28th so you can learn it for yourself. Thank you so much for joining us on this program. I am Queen Banda of WCTV. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's programs, from the interview with Joe McParland about his discussion on February 28th of this month at the Wareham Free Library, to learning about Islamic religion and Ramadan, their holiday. So I hope you learned from us, and we'll be back here on Friday. If you've missed us this morning, do not worry. We'll be here back on Friday, and this episode will re-air this evening at 6 p.m. On Friday, I'm going to have some students from the Wareham Public Schools. I'm going to have an 8th grader, a 9th grader, yes, so they'll be here to talk about their experiences at the schools and what is next for them. One of them will be going to be an exchange student later on in Australia. So stay tuned to hear from that. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and I'll see you back on Friday. Bye.